everybody. Welcome to our next episode of podcast. Today we're going to talk about something that's very close to my heart. It's how to ask for and also get a promotion, right? And this is such an important question. A lot of my friends come and ask me this. So to help us solve the mystery, I've invited my trusted mentor, ex-boss, friend, Eugene Chang.
Thank you for having me, Zann.
Welcome, Eugene.
So excited to be here.
Yeah, so Eugene is like a leadership coach. He was an entrepreneur. He is an entrepreneur again, right? And he really helps a lot of leaders to transit across their careers, right? And Eugene, yourself, you have done several transitions as well.
I have.
Yeah, so today we're going to answer this question, how to ask for and get a promotion. Have you had to do that in your career, Eugene?
Mostly no, but I did ask for a promotion once.
How did that go?
We can explore that a little bit more, but I would like to have you answer maybe that question because I know you've asked before.
Yes, I have always asked for.
You're quite good at it.
So, yeah, I think I never had to ask for promotion when I was in the government sector.
Okay.
Because I know it kind of takes a long time. It's a bit like a round robin, right? Like a musical chairs. I have to wait. But once I step into the private sector, I know that if I don't ask, I won't get it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. At first, okay, there are a group of people that tell me, but then I don't need to ask because my work will just show, right? I do good work. I will just get a promotion. But it's really not true.
It is not.
Exactly. There is such a thing called, like doing hard work, but nobody sees it. There's no visibility. You have no champions for you. You might only know people in your department, but maybe you don't know other people who will speak up for you. So I think for me, the learning in the private sector is to always ask, but don't ask in the fact like, oh, I just want a promotion, right? I will ask kind of saying, hey, I'm creating more impact with the work I'm doing. These are my aspirations. These are my goals. How can I help the organization also grow, right? At the same time, grow as well. So I've learned that if I ask, it tends to be that my manager will tell me what I'm lacking as well. Yeah, because sometimes I don't see what my seniors are doing. Yeah, I think one of my bosses told me, like, if you want to get this particular role, you have to already dress this part. You can't kind of operate at your current level. Yeah.
Clearly, I mean, for most leaders, when they want to do make a decision on someone getting promoted, it's also a consideration of how risky is this person going to be when I put them in that role.
What do you mean by risky? Like, can they do the role?
Absolutely. So you do see like some organizations, they almost always put you in a half step or already kind of functioning almost fully in that role before they just give you that title change.
Yeah, I was quite surprised. So they will say, okay, you're acting MD or you're acting VP. So you do a little bit of the role, but you haven't got that salary increment yet.
Or the full authority, right? So it's a bit of a try before you buy type of scenario, right? So you have to build confidence for management to say, yeah, we're going to put our money on this horse that's moving up the ranks. Right.
Yeah. So Eugene, you have mentored a lot of juniors, right? And then sometimes I find like people might come up to you and say, Eugene, I want a promotion. And I want it because I want more money. How do you respond to that? Because everybody wants more money or everybody wants a promotion.
Well, it's a legitimate reason. I have, many employees in the past who've actually come up and say, hey, I do need, that extra money. And I understand how promotions work, right? Because there's a pay bracket. So if I want to get more money, then I have to move up to the next level in order for me to unlock this salary range, right? And then they'll explain to me, their family commitments, etc., right? So on one hand, you need to have a heart and you need to understand their situation. And maybe I can do something for them without the promotion. You see, the promotion is not necessarily the only gateway to power, prestige,
Tell
title.
me an example of that. Like, how can you do something for them, but without like a promotion?
Sure, you could have a salary adjustment. Mid-year, these are all possibilities. or maybe depending on how they perform, you could give them a fatter bonus just to make up for the fact that they didn't get promoted this year, right? So there are many ways in which we play across these factors. I know it's not kosher. I mean, like a lot of HR experts will say, don't muller all these things. But as a practical manager on the ground, I only have X dollar in my kitty, right, to play around with. And then I also have this thing called promotions, which, are bigger and more important to some others. And so I'm looking at it across, can I retain talent? Can I motivate talent? And then with all of these things before me, what's the best way I can do it? Sometimes I understand and I can just tell the staff and say, look, I know you talked to me about this before. I know you're due for promotion. But what I can do for you now is I can give you a good increment this year and a nice bonus. But I have to pass you up on the promotion. Not to say that you're not good, but your time will come. It's just I don't have enough seats. I can't fight for you because that's not what HQ has given me, right?
Yeah.
So you've got to be sensitive to the needs of the business. Promotions get fewer as you go up, obviously, not because it's a pyramid, but also because people sit in it longer. Right, so until they vacate the seat, you're not going to have a place to go in most of the time, unless the company is growing really quickly.
Yes. And to sum up, I think we mentioned, okay, so for you, if you're asking for a promotion, there is a price you pay if you don't ask for it.
Absolutely. You may be overlooked. Other people who may be taking credit for your work may get ahead. Essentially, you may be shortchanged is what the current understanding here is. If your work does not shine for itself, or even if it does, but nobody knows, but because your boss could be 3 levels up.
Yes.
And someone else has a good champion and they're talking up this other person, they will get the promotion before.
Yeah. I was doing some research about this and I read about this guy called Harvey Coleman. So he had this thing called a leadership brand, like a pie.
Nice, right? Yes.
Yeah, and he said like your whole brand, right? 10% of it is just your performance, only 10%. Because at a certain level, you need more than your performance. The performance is now like a baseline that everybody has. So if you want that promotion, you want to be even more visible, you want to have a stronger brand, you really need to look at the other 90%. And it's interesting because he said that the other 30% of it is actually your image, the kind of impact you create with your teams if you're a leader. And then the final 60% is actually something called exposure, right? So I bet you have seen this pie before. What does exposure really mean and why is this like a differentiator?
Well, to me, exposure is really about, in some ways, visibility, but also whether you have people championing you when you're not in the room, right? The way they talk about you in performance review sessions, the way they talk about you in casual formats. Oh yeah, she's really good. I did a workshop with her that day and she was just out of the world. Super. So suddenly your brand improves. It's more than just you trying to create a good brand in the workshop, but your brand carriers helping communicate that to other people who are talking about you.
Yeah.
Right? So you create an aura around yourself.
Yes, for my younger listeners, it's almost like your Instagram followers, right? Like you're a social influencer, but how big is your followership and who are actually giving you positive comments to other people? Yeah, so they can.
I almost feel that the young people today, if I can say that, young people,
Eugene is old.
They are really good at curating their image.
Yeah.
Right? And as it's what social media is all about. You put the best foot forward, right? And if I go back to my very first job, when I first went to my first role, that was at Hewlett-Packard. I was an IT guy. I joined with 100 plus, almost 200 engineers on the first day, right? Orientation, right? And HR was very clear. They said, if you want to do well in this firm, it's not about doing your day job.
Ooh.
What extra can you do for the organization? Right? So it's more than just your brand. It's a plus. What is differentiating you from the rest of the 200 engineers who joined me in the cohort? So don't think about, I'm doing my job and everything looks great and I don't understand why I didn't get a promotion. That's because that's baseline, right? And then the question is, what else are you doing? So, but exposure was funny because you remind me of this story, right? So during that orientation, right? So all of us running around and eventually we got into this room and the boss's boss, the head of IT was there, right? And they gave us a little project to do.
Oh. Oh.
Right? So in small groups, we're doing this project. And at the end of it, all these IT guys, they looked up and they said, okay, Eugene, you do the presentation. I was like, okay, I don't mind. I'm okay with it, right? But okay, I'll take one for the team, right? So I didn't think much about it, right? So I did the presentation for our group, right? Fast forward about maybe 11 months, right? During the promotion period, my boss said that it was very easy for her to justify my promotion because the head of IT knew who I was from that one meeting because I made an impression.
Yeah.
So it's crazy. If you have done great work in my department, coding away in this corner, but they didn't know you're just one of 50 names that were put up for promotion. Yeah, but for her, she remembered this guy who gave okay, and then just go through, and it was easy for her. So you can almost imagine these conversations happening all the time.
I think in Harvey Korman's book, he talked about every single touch point or every single opportunity, every single forum that you have, really make your voice heard and share your name, sort of. I find that it's quite difficult in an Asian context. Do you find that?
Yes. Certainly. I mean, there's a little bit of humility and all that we go through.
Like let's not show off.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. Like, why you, like, let's say if your peers didn't volunteer you, it's a bit paise. Paise means embarrassing or...
I would probably have just sat down and just be guys. Like the other IT guys, we all don't like, that kind of attention.
Yeah. So there's a way of doing it, right? Because if you're always raising your hands or doing it and then not giving your peers a chance to speak out as well, then you are seen as a bit too visible. Is there a risk of that in your experience?
Good question. I do think that you should not be too concerned about everything around it, right? If you have a contribution and you're sensitive to, helping other people have an opportunity to speak up, but if nobody wants to, feel free to provide your input.
Yes. I think a sign of a person who is ready to get promoted, take on a bigger portfolio, create more impact is also their ability to give space to everybody else.
Yes. So it differs, right? If you're an individual contributor at the start of your career, it's very important for you to champion yourself. When you become a manager and your contribution is by working through others to get results done, then you need to be able to help others succeed. And in that process, people will see that you're a team player, you can make or multiply impact around with teams. Then you look good as well when other people succeed.
Yeah.
So then you shift from, putting so much emphasis on yourself, you put a little more emphasis in the team. And then as you move up to an enterprise leader, it's about, making sure the business looks good and does well, right? So then you're representing the organization. So it's a slightly different focus, I guess, of your energy. You no longer talk about yourself once you go to mid-level. Like, Zann, it would be funny if you just go around talking only about yourself right now, right? It'd be better if you were able to demonstrate how well your team is, team that's working with you. Although you do take speaking engagements here and there, and that's building a personal brand, but largely within the organization, they're looking at you to say, can she lead a team? Can she create new opportunities for others?
Yes. I think as you're talking, one kind of advice I want to share with my, our listeners, right, is don't just manage your boss, because some people are really good with just one person. So in a talent council, their boss are going to speak up for them, but nobody else, right? Because a talent council, you have like multiple HODs. You could have 20 HODs all wanting to fight for their person for promotion.
So I would say that there's a little bit of a political dimension here. So it's a good call out, Zann. So if your organization is very hierarchical and all power is concentrated in one guy, even if that guy is 3 levels up, that's the guy you need to influence, not your boss, but your boss's boss's boss, because he's the one who does the sign off. And he doesn't know who this Zann lady is, and her name comes up, that's it, Then there are other organizations that on purpose, they actually kind of create a 360, right? So what they want to do is they want to get input of your performance and experience with different partners, for example, right? Then you need to make sure that all your stakeholders are well taken care of, right? So in that scenario, I 100% agree. Make sure that everybody's covered, everyone from the secretary all the way to your peers or even your juniors.
Every
'cause
touch
they will-
point,
yes.
yeah, and every touch point counts because you never know what people are going to say about you, and you never know whether you'll be there to kind of rectify a wrong impression or things like that. Does it mean that the system is a little bit biased for extroverts? Because obviously, if you're an extrovert, it's so much easier to do what you just said, and if you're introverted, it's a little bit harder.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't speak up for yourself and all people have is, because actually most organizations are very poor with controlling metrics and really measuring real performance, right? So they will ask for opinions and you need to talk to people to influence others, right? So let's be smart about this. It is a world of politics,
Yeah.
and you do need to know how to play at the performance level, but also at the political arena.
Yeah. So,
one last thing I need
yes.
to share with this. Remember I said that I never quite asked for a promotion,
Yeah.
except once very early also in my, well, 15 years ago, when I first joined consulting, I was switching industries again, right? And I asked or made a pact actually with my boss at that point in time to say, I'm coming in 2 levels down because I'm switching industries. I said, look, for the next year, if I do a good job, will you give me a promotion, right? Tell me what you need me to do before that, because it makes all the difference for him to start observing you, giving you the goals that you need to do to hit in order for him to give you that promotion. And you give him time to start thinking about it and maybe even to mentor you rather than waiting, 1 month before the decision is made and you go, boss, I want a promotion. And he'll be like, wow, this is the first, I didn't know you wanted a promotion. So essentially 1 year beforehand, the timing is important. Signal by throwing your hat in the ring and say, I am ready and I want to go for that promotion.
Yeah.
So if a promotion cycle takes, let's say 3 years at a more senior level, 3, 4, 5 years, maybe year 4 or year 3, you throw your hat in the ring.
Talking about timing, should you kind of quit your job if, let's say, you ask your boss for a promotion, they say they're gonna give it to you, but you didn't get it in the end? And it just, okay, I'm just gonna look for another job.
Give your poor boss a chance. I would say sometimes, promotion positions just don't open up every day, right? And so sometimes they're doing the best they can. It just depends on the kind of relationship you have. Now, if you're stuck in a job, you're not growing, you've given them a chance, then you might want to start looking out for other opportunities, right? But if you're getting mostly what you want, you get a lot of autonomy, you got respect, you're having fun in the organization, you're growing, you just don't have that title.
Yes.
Have another conversation with your boss.
Yeah.
That's the best.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. There are always organizational guardrails like talent councils, a number of seats you have budget cycles, maybe
There's a recession suddenly and nobody's getting promoted. What do you do?
Yeah. So the other, like a last advice, right, I receive is also to look upwards at your seniors, because very often we're doing our job at this grade, right? But we don't realize, okay, actually my seniors, there's one position above me. They are doing their job differently. They're operating at a different mode, right? As managers, sometimes people come to us asking for promotions, but people are not ready. How do you tell them that, okay, actually you're not ready yet?
I just tell them, you're not ready. There's no way I should be like, trying to hide the truth and overly sugarcoating it. But I'll be nasty. Look, I recognize the effort that you put in. I know you're great at this, A, B, C, D, E. There's some things I think you're not able to do yet. But if I see you in the next position, you need to be able to shift and do X, Y, Z, which they probably would not have considered.
Yeah.
Right? So yes, mix with your seniors, spend time with them, see how they operate, mirror some of those things that they're doing, and then elevate yourself. Learn new things.
Yeah. Is there ever a time you would say no to a promotion?
Yes, because the promotion is just a door. One of many doors, by the way. Not the only door that can get you what you want, right? Power, prestige, autonomy, challenge, whatever, growth, money. What you want to do is to say, do I really like what's on the other side of the door? Right? So sometimes you open the door, like, at my life stage, I can't do the 24-hour thing. I can't X, Y, Z. I'd rather close that door and just stay where I am for my life stage because I've got a young kid or whatever, right? So there are times where you will say no to the promotion,
Yeah.
especially if it doesn't benefit you and your life at that point in time. But there might be ramifications. Just know the consequence. If you turn your boss down, it might never come back again. Or you might really pass a great opportunity maybe to be an expat in another country, to run a business that, you could have maybe talked to him to say, look, if I take this promotion, can you help me work out some things so that I can make it work with my family? And some of the really good organizations, they do that.
Okay. Very helpful. Eugene, we are about to close, right? What is one advice you would just want to put into our listeners' heads before we leave the podcast?
On promotions.
Yeah.
Promotions are not everything. I would say do all you can, as much as you can, to grow and to learn. If the promotion comes, that's great. If it doesn't, that's also okay, because you position yourself for new and better things in maybe some other opportunity.
Yeah. The thing about promotion is like...
So don't act your wage is what I'm trying to say. That's like, I would never say, I'm only paid X dollars, so I'm only going to function that. If you have great potential, just explore it all the way to the end and change.
Yeah. So I'm hearing you might think that a promotion is going to make you happy.
Yes.
But sometimes, well, if you don't get it, you get unhappy. But if you get it, it might not make you happy either.
Correct.
Right? Okay. So very interesting. For those of you who are trying out for promotion, all the best.
All the best.
Yeah. If you have any questions for us, leave it down in our comments below, and we might talk about it in the next podcast. Thank you, everyone, for...
Great. I hope it was helpful.
Yeah.
Take care, everyone. Bye-bye. Thanks, Sam.